Today we are going to discuss the introduction to IT system, subject code 2003, which is a part of the Board of Technical Education Rajasthan. The very first topic of this video lecture series is the block diagram of a computer. The block diagram of a computer displays a structural representation of computer system. Block diagram gives a quick overview of working process of computer from inputting the data to retrieving the information. The main components of the block diagram of computers are input unit, central processing unit, which is also called CPU, and the output unit. If we see the block diagram of a computer, it looks like this. This is input unit, this is output unit, this one is central processing unit, CPU, and finally this one is memory unit. So the data enters from the input unit and input devices like mouse, keyboard, etc. First it goes to the memory unit. From memory unit it goes to the central processing unit, where the control unit and arithmetic and logical unit do its work and gives output, and finally the result goes to the output unit. So the data from input devices or input units enters into the central processing unit. After processing the data, we get information as output from the monitor, printer, or output devices. Input. What are the input devices? The input unit consists of input devices such as the mouse, keyboard, scanner, joysticks, etc. These devices are used to input information or instructions into the computer system. Like other electronic machines, a computer takes inputs as raw data, which is in the form of the binary data, and perform necessary processings by the help of CPU, and finally gives output. Therefore, the input unit is the medium of communication that takes data from us to the computer in an organized manner for the processing. The input unit performs major functions like the input unit converts the inputted data or instructions into the binary form for further processing, because computer only knows binary language and computer only understands the binary language. And finally the input unit transmits the data to the main memory of the computer for processing. This one is the central processing unit, which is also called CPU. The CPU is called brain of the computer, and it is an electronic hardware device which can perform different type of operations such as arithmetic and logical operations. So this is input unit. Input units gives the data by the help of input devices like keyboard, mouse to the CPU, and CPU receives these data in the form of binary language, that is in form of 0 and 1. Arithmetic. CPU consists arithmetic and logical unit and also the control unit. After processing the data, we get our results or information from the output unit like monitor, printer, etc. What is the central unit? The CU or central unit controls all the activities or operations which are performed inside the computer system. It receives instructions or information directly from the main memory of the computer. When the control unit receives an instruction set or information, it converts the instruction set to the control signal. Then these signals are sent to the central processor for further processing. The control unit understands which operation to execute and which operations we have to execute after that operations. So the main control of the computer is taken care by the control unit. After the control unit, we have arithmetic and logical unit, which is also called ALU. The ALU is the combinational digital electronic circuit that can perform arithmetic operations on the integer binary number. These arithmetic operations can be the addition, subtractions, division, multiplication, or other several operations like comparing, selecting, matching, and merging of the data. The information or the data is transmitted to the ALU from storage unit only when it is required, and after completing these arithmetic and logical operations, the result is either returned to the storage unit for further processing or getting the store. And the very important part of the CPU is also the memory unit. The memory unit is an essential part of the computer system, which is used to store the data and instructions before and after the processing. The memory unit transmits the information to the units of the computer system when required. There are two types of memory units. One is primary memory and another one is secondary memory. The primary memory is also called random access memory, and secondary memory or auxiliary memory, which is comparatively larger than the primary memory. And finally, what are the output units of the computer? The output unit consists of the devices that are used to display the result or output of the processing. Mainly, we can say the monitor, printer, projector, speaker. These are considered the output units of the computer. The output data is first stored in the memory and then displayed in a human readable form through the output devices. Because the human beings are not able to understand the binary languages, so the output devices displayed the result or information in the human readable form. Some of the widely used output devices, as we earlier discussed, that monitor, printer, projector, speaker, etc. The output unit perform the following major functions. The first one is accepts the data or information in the binary form from the main memory of the computer system and converts the binary data into the human readable form for better understanding of the human being. So in the summary, we find that the set of data or instructions is entered through the input device in the form of raw data or binary data. The instruction is processed with the help of the CPU, the combination of control unit and the arithmetic and logical unit. So CPU is the combination of ALU and CU. The computer system produces the output with the help of output devices, which converts retrieved binary data into the human readable form. Throughout the entire process, the data is stored in the memory unit, and we know that there are two types of memory units. One is primary memory and another is the secondary memory. depending on the size of the data. Thank you.